Why, hello there. My name is Dylan Nellis. I'm a student at Stanford University and a college consultant at collegeessayadvice.com. If you've been following my journey on YouTube, you probably know that I have not posted in months. And this video is really gonna address why. We're gonna have some real talk here. If you are a high achiever like me, listen up. Okay, so being at Stanford, pretty much the whole student body is full of high achievers. And many high achievers, like myself, get caught up in this feeling that you have to go, and do things and produce all the time. We feel like we always have to be productive and moving forward and getting ahead. We commit to a million things and a million activities and we say, yeah, I can do it all, I'll be fine. And it's like, it's not fine. And our own self-worth starts to revolve around our achievements and the things that we do rather than who we are. Maybe we're anxious about the future and hoping that everything goes strictly to plan. And with all of this focus on work, we forget to tend to our well-being. And so you start to see a lack of sleep, a lack of taking care of yourself. You may rarely take breaks or do things just for yourself or do nothing, you know? So many high achievers, especially at Stanford, but also at other schools as well, have been living in this mindset, in this way of doing things for many, many years, especially throughout high school. Because in high school, it's go, do these classes, take these APs, do these extracurriculars, write these essays, blah, 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 so I can get into a good college. And we push ourselves constantly to the limit, and we're constantly dealing with so much stress. But the thing is, once you get into college and you force yourself to do that even more, you start to burn out. And a lot of people here are really burnt out. Because the fact of the matter is you can't just keep living like this forever without tending to your well-being. There is a breaking point that you are approaching. And so it's really important to realize this now rather than later when things have gotten much worse. I think there is a misconception about Stanford, especially being this prestigious university, that it's so perfect and that it's paradise and everyone wants to be there and everyone who is there has the most amazing time. That's not true. It's not perfect. There are, in fact, many flaws. There are many flaws in all schools and everywhere. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about one of them. The following of what I'm going to be saying and talking about is based off of my personal experience being here as a student at Stanford. However, it's important to note that everyone's experience is different. So you can pick and choose what you want to take away from this video. The quarter system moves very, very fast. We have to do all of our classes in 10 weeks, 9 weeks actually, and then a finals week. So everything is on this like high speed, go. And the school itself really knows this and does emphasize this, especially during NSO, which is the new student orientation. They're really pushing you and telling mostly the freshmen to take care of themselves and that there are resources available ranging from academic advising to mental health support to career support. But it is so easy to forget this and to get lost in the day-to-day grind.
Hi, it's me a couple months later, and I actually just wanted to pop in and quickly say that even though Stanford has these mental health and well-being resources, they are quite limited. I can't speak too much on this because I don't have personal experience using them, but many students have vocalized the lack of accessibility and lack of availability regarding scheduling appointments with CAPS. So that is not to say don't use them in any way at all. It's just to inform you guys that it's not perfect. But if you need those resources, definitely take advantage of them. And I will even link them in the description below.
So for me, in my fall quarter of both freshman and sophomore year, I'm technically a sophomore now. I took a gap year in between freshman and sophomore year. I felt like I didn't have time for anything because I was doing so much, taking a lot of classes and doing extracurriculars at the same time. And when I say I didn't have time for anything, I literally meant like I had to schedule in my calendar when I would shower and when I would do my laundry and when I would go pick up a package or when I would call my parents. Like things that you just kind of would normally do, I was putting every little block in my calendar, and I still kind of do that today. Because I felt like every hour of the day, every minute could not go wasted. And that mentality can really stress you out. So as for my fall quarter this year, I was taking Math 21, which was the worst class ever, in my opinion. I don't really like the math department here, if I'm completely honest. They teach really way too fast without actually making sure that you understand the content before moving forward. And so I was never able to process what was happening in that class. Every time I went to class, it felt like I was being like slapped in the face with a bunch of information. And the homeworks were so hard to the point where like nobody could really do them without asking for help. You had to go to the TAs. And then when you would go to office hours, the TAs would just kind of tell you all the answers. So you're like, okay, I'll just write it all down and turn it in. And is anything actually going in my brain? I don't really know. And the crazy thing is, I really enjoyed math up until this moment. Like, math was my favorite subject in high school. I started a math club. I loved math. But Stanford math, or at least Math 21, made me dislike it. I was also running my college essay business. Quick plug, if you want your essay edited by me or my team, you can find everything you need to know here. I also have a college essay online course that walks you through the entire writing process and teaches you everything you need to know. So on top of my classes, I was running this business. And that was honestly very difficult. And at one point in October, I spent like 30 hours per week on the business, which is extremely unsustainable. But that was important to know because now I've identified the flaws in the system that I need to fix, and I've already taken some steps to fix them, but it's a good learning experience, but it was definitely very stressful. So yeah, I was running that business. I was also in a show, so I did have rehearsal twice a week, and I was just so sleep deprived. And on top of that, I had all these thoughts about like career and where am I going and internships and should I have one, because I was getting so caught up in what everyone else was doing here. And it's really interesting because I just came from a gap year where I was fully alone, like with my parents, but fully alone for a full year. So I really got to think about who I am and what I wanted and got more grounded in myself. But once I came here, I like lost my balance a little bit, and I was like, oh, am I supposed to become an engineer? Look at all these other students who are interning at Google and Apple and Facebook. And I had to even ask myself, like, is that what I even wanted? And eventually I realized, no, it's not. I don't want to do that. I feel like it's a constant feeling here to have so much to do and not enough time. Like, that is just something you will always hear people saying. So much to do, not enough time. My roommate is even going through a very similar thing, and it was actually worse because she had so much work to do that she would really cut into her sleep and take all-nighters working all the time. And because she was so stressed and operating off of so little sleep, her immune system was weakened, and then she got sick and was sick for like most of the quarter. And so I think that's hard, especially in this space of like a dorm room where you can't really separate work and personal life because your desk and your bed is in the same place. And I know we've kind of all experienced this from living in quarantine, but it's like well-being is so important. You can't just keep living like this. You can't just keep cutting into your sleep because you have work to do. Because it's like, is this really benefiting you to put your body and your mental state under this much stress? Because you're working to improve, hopefully, the life of your future self. But if you want to actually really improve the life of your future self, you got to take care of your well-being throughout, not just at the end goal. So in terms of dealing with all of this, in my freshman year, fall quarter, when I was dealing with a very similar situation, I was like so stressed and like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. But this year, I calmed down a little bit, even though I was very stressed. And I was like, you know what? Whatever happens, happens. I feel like the dog meme that's like sitting in a room that's burning and they're like, this is fine. Now, that's not to say that that's a healthy lifestyle or way to deal with this at all, because I don't think it is. But it was knowing that I could get through it, that I could figure it out, that my work would get done. And even if it didn't, so what? I didn't have to get an A in a class. Okay, here's where things start to shift in the story. Winter quarter, which is where I am right now. In winter quarter, I decided to take way less units. I also dropped a class because I was like, you know what, this class isn't really serving me. So I'm taking 14 units instead of my usual like 17 through 19. So this quarter, I actually feel so much better. First of all, I love my classes. I actually feel like I'm doing something I'm passionate about, and I'm actually starting my major for the first time, or like the classes that go with my major. And I decided not to do any extracurriculars this quarter besides my business. So way less time commitment on that front. And now I have more time and freedom to just exist as a person. And I can spend more time with my girlfriend and my friends and just, take time for myself. Yesterday, I went on a walk, and I have never gone on just a spontaneous walk at Stanford. And I was like, holy crap. First of all, this campus is beautiful, and it's so lovely to go on walks. Second of all, why have I never done this before? I'm able to actually sit and appreciate the space that we are in. And when you're in this constant pressure of work, you tend to forget that we are in this like really nice place. And I just had like a moment of gratitude to be existing here. And with taking less units and having a little bit more time to myself, I realized this is how life should be. It's not just, oh, I'm taking it easy this quarter. It's like, yeah, you should care for your wellness. Like, what? And that's not to say that this quarter has been perfect either. Like, I think I've learned a lot of these lessons through this quarter as well. I even had like a breakdown. I was crying like 2 weeks ago because I was very stressed about my project for CS 147 because I just tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. And so I had to realize that and say, you know what? It's okay. I can let my guard down a little bit. And I'm realizing how important it is to unlearn certain behaviors and mindsets that I've had growing up. So let's talk takeaways. Taking a smaller number of units is a wise decision. It's so wise. We applaud the ones who take care of themselves. And another thing that made this really hard for me to understand was that I wanted to take so many classes at Stanford, so I filled my 4-year plan and filled my schedule because I really want to get everything that I can out of here. But I also had to learn that that's impossible. My girlfriend told me that's like trying to drink from a fire hydrant that's exploding. Like, you can't drink all the water, it's just hitting you in the face. You have time to keep learning and growing, and your career goals will probably change, and you will explore a bunch of different paths. You don't have to have it all figured out now. You don't have to do everything and be everything right now. Self-care deserves a spot on your calendar. Do not just wait to practice self-care when you are hitting rock bottom. No, practice it throughout. Take time for yourself. Get sleep. Ask for extensions if you need it. It's fine. Just email the professor. And if you need to for your mental well-being, skip a class. It's fine. Obviously, make sure you look at your attendance policy and maybe contact the professor. But if you can evaluate that it's not gonna kill your grade or change anything if you miss one class and you get to sleep in a little longer and make the rest of your day so much better, do it. And seek support. Talk to your family, talk to your friends. If you can, talk to a therapist because your well-being matters. You wanna take care of yourself. You only have one body and she's gonna be there with you for the rest of your life. So treat her with kindness. So those are the lessons that I've been learning, and I think a lot of other people should learn them too. All right, with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.